In 1989, the world watched the collapse of one of the most closed-off countries in Europe. East Germany was rapidly vanishing from the map, and its factories were disappearing with it. Only one East German car manufacturer managed to survive and continues to operate to this day. This is a story of survival, of a small brand from Thuringia that endured not just German reunification, but an entire change of era. Back in 1920, entrepreneur Hermann Ehrgang and engineer Arthur Ade founded a small workshop that would grow into a successful manufacturer of agricultural equipment, AWE Werk. By the late 1920s, it employed nearly 400 workers. But like many others, the company was redirected during World War to produce military gear for the Wehrmacht. In 1948, the war-torn factory was nationalized and renamed VEB Fahrzeugwerk Waltershausen. The post-war GDR urgently needed simple and practical machinery, and the solution came almost by accident. In 1951, one factory built a bizarre diesel-powered cart for internal use. It had no cabin. The operator simply stood on a footboard, steering by shifting their body weight side to side. Throttle, brakes, and gear controls were within arm's reach. The strange contraption worked surprisingly well. Production started in Ludwigsfelde, but was soon moved to Waltershausen. The machine got an upgrade, a proper model name, DK3, later DK 2003, and even a nickname, the Diesel Ant. Despite weighing just 930 kilograms, the DK 2003 could carry up to 1.85 tons, thanks to its 6-horsepower diesel engine. It had no electric starter, and the water cooling system was creative. Heated water simply evaporated and had to be refilled regularly. In 1957, a more refined version appeared, the DK 2004. It featured a rounded front, a protective gate, a padded roller for the operator to lean on, and finally, an electric starter. The success of East Germany's diesel ants sparked a new idea. Why not export them? But first, the factory had to face a surprising issue. The name Amy's was already trademarked abroad, so they launched a naming contest across the GDR, gathering around 150 suggestions. From the shortlist, they picked a catchy English-style name, Multicar, a multi-purpose vehicle. By late 1959, the DK 2004 had officially become the Multicar 21. And over the next 5 years, more than 12,000 units rolled off the assembly line, a major leap in numbers. Why so many? Because the Multicar was no longer confined to factory floors. It found work in agriculture, construction sites, street cleaning, and even with the Deutsche Post. Compact, durable, and endlessly useful, it quickly became a trusted workhorse. However, one issue remained. The Multicar still wasn't classified as a real car. With the driver standing instead of sitting, it couldn't legally be used on public roads. But out in the countryside or near factories, that rule was often quietly ignored. Just like its predecessor, the Multicar 22 was unveiled at the Leipzig Trade Fair, this time in 1964. But it brought a major breakthrough, a fully enclosed one-seater cabin with a proper driver's seat. It even had windows and a heater, making winter work much more bearable. The upper part of the cab could be removed, turning it into an open vehicle, a nod to its Amy's roots. This design upgrade changed everything. Multicar was no longer just a powered cart. It was now a real road-legal mini-truck. The 22nd had a muffler, full lighting, and electric system to meet public road standards. Top speed? Just 23 kilometers per hour. but that was more than enough for short-distance hauling on job sites and farms. With trailers, payload capacity reached up to 4.5 tons, and with its 15 horsepower engine, added in 1970, it could even tackle slopes up to 8 degrees. There were three main versions: 22P, base chassis or flatbed; 22D, three-way tipper; 22M, standard single-direction dumper. Various attachments were available for municipal or agricultural use, from plows to sweepers. By 1974, the Waltershausen factory had built over 40,000 Multicar 22s. By the early 1970s, Multicar got a serious upgrade. The old concept had run its course, so engineers developed a completely new chassis with dual rear wheels, a redesigned cabin, and most importantly, a proper four-cylinder diesel engine. 2 liters, 45 horsepower. A real truck motor. The single-seat cab tilted forward, just like on full-size lorries, for easy engine access. Multicar 24 was now twice as fast, with a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour, and even featured a hydraulic system with its own pump for auxiliary tools. The new cabin was boxy and functional. Flat panels made room for 2 workers, and the sharp-edged design fit perfectly into the style of the 1970s industrial aesthetic. Production ran until 1978, when the legendary Multicar 25 took over. Still ultra-compact, the new model was now a fully capable small truck, widely used in tight urban spaces. The huge windshield gave excellent visibility, while the 2-person cabin made everyday use more comfortable. It retained the same liquid-cooled diesel engine, but added rear differential lock for better off-road traction. The front bumper could be removed quickly to fit extra tools, snowplows, brushes, and more. Multicar 25 became the most successful model ever built in Waltershausen, especially popular across the USSR and Eastern Bloc countries. Compact, reliable, and surprisingly versatile, the Multicar proved to be a remarkably resilient vehicle. Even after the dissolution of East Germany, the factory in Waltershausen did not shut down, unlike many other East German manufacturers. Brands like Wartburg, Trabant, and Barkas failed to adapt to the new reality and were closed, but Multicar managed to find its place in a unified Germany. As it turned out, demand for practical utility vehicles hadn't disappeared, whether in cities or rural areas. Naturally, changes also affected the factory itself. The state-owned company VEB Fahrzeugwerk Waltershausen was privatized and received a new name. Still, the core concept of the Multicar remained the same: an extremely utilitarian, simple, easy-to-maintain, and durable light-duty truck. Production volumes dropped from the peak of 5,000 to 7,000 vehicles per year to around 1,500 annually in the early 1990s. Yet even that was enough for the plant to continue operating profitably. However, the new era called for new solutions. Competing in a market economy required not just keeping the production line running, but also modernizing the product. This led to the introduction of the Multicar 25.1, a transitional version of the well-known model. At a glance, it looked almost identical to its predecessor, but under the cab was a modern 1.9-liter Volkswagen diesel engine. This upgrade improved reliability and fuel efficiency and made the vehicle more attractive for Western buyers. The Soviet Union remained the main export market for Multicar. Over the course of the 1980s, more than 20,000 vehicles were shipped there. The Soviet market valued the Multicar for its compact size, durability, and simplicity. The most popular variants were flatbed trucks, dump trucks, and panel vans. But one version stood out in particular: the one with a hydraulic tailgate, which greatly simplified loading and unloading even in tight spaces. This configuration proved especially useful for municipal services, warehouses, collective farms, and factories where quick, efficient handling was a must. Despite the difficulties of the transition period and growing competition, the multicar continued to fill a specific niche. Its greatest strength remained its versatility. It was truly a multi-purpose vehicle, capable of serving in a wide variety of sectors, from public utilities to construction and agriculture. Multicar wasn't just another utilitarian truck from the Eastern Bloc. It became a rare example of East German engineering that successfully survived in a new economic reality. The successor to the most well-known multicar model, the truck designated 26, was equipped with powerful Iveco diesel engines, producing up to 105 horsepower, depending on the version. It now had a 5-speed transmission and could be fitted with an auxiliary transfer case, power takeoff shafts, and power steering. These upgrades marked a major step toward a more modern, capable, and versatile utility vehicle. In 1998, a controlling stake in Multicar Spezialfahrzeuge GmbH was acquired by the Hako Group. Just a few years later, in 2001, a new generation was launched in Waltershausen, the Multicar 30, also known by the name Frumo. Beginning in 2010, the company introduced an entirely new line of vehicles. The Tremo series continued to embody the concept of a compact, multi-purpose utility truck, but now based on a completely new platform. Technically and structurally, they had little in common with their predecessors, whose lineage could still be traced back to the original Multicar 25 of the 1970s. Yet some things remained unchanged. Just like decades ago, these small, brightly colored trucks set out every day to perform the essential but often overlooked tasks of city life: garbage collection, street cleaning, material transport, and infrastructure maintenance. Over the years, Multicar has remained a true jack of all trades, small in size but large in purpose. Unlike many products of East German industry, the Multicar did not vanish with the collapse of the GDR. It adapted, modernized, and found its place in the new reality. Thanks to its practicality, durability, and the willingness to evolve, Multicar has survived dramatic political and economic shifts. More than just a relic of the past, it became a rare example of continuity, an enduring thread that connects the industrial legacy of East Germany to the present day.